You just bought brand new tires and ran your hand across the rubber. Tiny spikes everywhere. Little rubber hairs poking out like the tire forgot to shave. What are they? Are they supposed to be there? Do they do something important? Most people notice them once and forget forever. But here is what almost nobody knows. Those little nubs can actually tell you whether your brand new tires are really new, or if you just got scammed at the tire shop. Today we are uncovering what those weird rubber spikes actually mean and why mechanics check for them every single time. Let's go. The story starts in 1888 when Scottish veterinarian John Boyd Dunlop invented the first practical pneumatic tire for his son's tricycle. Before that, wheels were solid rubber or metal, making every ride feel like getting punched in the spine repeatedly. Dunlop's air-filled tire changed everything by cushioning the ride, and within years automobiles adopted it. By the early 1900s, Goodyear, Michelin, and Firestone raced to perfect tire construction, moving from basic rubber tubes to reinforced designs using fabric cords and eventually steel belts. Modern tires are precision-engineered products built in multiple layers, and understanding how they are made is the only way to understand what those little rubber spikes actually are. Here is how a tire gets built from scratch. Manufacturers start with the inner liner, special rubber designed to keep air from leaking. Then they add layers of fabric cords made from polyester or nylon for flexibility and strength. Next comes steel belts, usually 2 layers of steel wire woven tightly and laid beneath the tread to prevent punctures and give structural rigidity at high speeds. Finally, they add thick rubber compounds for the tread pattern and sidewall rubber. At this stage, the tire is called a green tire because it is still soft, uncured, and looks nothing like the finished product. This green tire gets placed into a massive steel mold engraved with the exact tread pattern, sidewall lettering, and every detail you see on a finished tire. A rubber bladder inflates inside with pressurized steam or hot air, forcing the soft rubber outward against the mold walls. The mold heats to 150 to 180 degrees Celsius, triggering vulcanization, a chemical process discovered by Charles Goodyear in 1839, where sulfur bonds rubber molecules together and transforms sticky raw rubber into tough elastic material. Now here is the critical part that explains those tiny nubs. As the tire presses outward into every groove and corner of the mold, air gets trapped between the expanding rubber and steel mold surface. If that air cannot escape, it creates bubbles, weak spots, and imperfections that would compromise safety and ruin appearance. To solve this, tire molds have hundreds of microscopic vent holes drilled throughout the surface. These vents allow trapped air to escape as the tire cures. But when soft rubber is forced against the mold under extreme pressure, tiny amounts of rubber squeeze into those vent holes like toothpaste through a tube. Once the tire finishes curing and gets removed from the mold, those little bits of hardened rubber stay attached. Those are the nubs. Officially, they are called vent spews in the tire industry, though some mechanics call them rubber whiskers or sprue marks. They are not a defect. They are not a design feature. They are simply leftover evidence of the manufacturing process. So do they serve any purpose once the tire is finished? Absolutely not. The nubs do not improve traction, braking, or reduce road noise. They do not measure tread wear. They are completely useless for performance. They disappear almost immediately once you start driving. Because these little rubber spikes are thin, fragile, and barely attached to the tire surface, regular contact with asphalt scrapes them away within the first few miles. You will never see them again after a short drive because the road eats them alive. This is completely normal and exactly what is supposed to happen. Some drivers assume their presence means the tire is brand new, and that is often true, but it is not a reliable way to verify tire age. Tires can sit in storage for months or even years and still have visible nubs because they were never driven. The only accurate way to check a tire's manufacturing date is by reading the DOT code stamped on the sidewall, a series of letters and numbers where the last 4 digits tell you the week and year the tire was made. For example, 2319 means the tire was manufactured in the 23rd week of 2019. That code never lies. Now here is where things get interesting, and this is the part that matters for your safety. If you buy what you think are brand new tires and those little nubs are completely missing, that does not automatically mean something is wrong, but it does mean you should ask questions. It could mean the tires were test-driven at the factory, sat on display, or were mounted on a vehicle briefly for a photo shoot or showroom display. None of these scenarios are dangerous, but they do mean the tire is not technically brand new in the strictest sense. The presence of nubs is not a safety issue, and their absence is not a safety issue either. But if you are paying for brand new tires and they arrive without any visible vent spews, it is worth asking the shop or dealer for clarification. Most of the time there is a perfectly innocent explanation, but occasionally it reveals that tires were sitting longer than claimed or were briefly used for something else. Here is another question people always ask. If the nubs are useless after production, why do not manufacturers just trim them off before selling the tire? Great question, and the answer is pure economics. A single tire can have dozens or even hundreds of vent spews scattered across the tread and sidewalls. Removing them would require additional labor, automated trimming equipment, extra production time, and increased costs with absolutely zero functional benefit. Since the nubs pose no safety risk and wear off naturally within miles of driving, manufacturers leave them attached because it is simply more efficient and cost-effective to let the road handle it. In high-end racing tires and some specialty performance tires, manufacturers occasionally do extra finishing work for aesthetic reasons, but for standard road tires sold to everyday drivers, trimming vent spews is an unnecessary expense that would only increase the price you pay at the tire shop. Now let me clear up myths that float around online. Myth number 1, the nubs improve grip during the first few drives. Completely false. They are far too small, too soft, and too fragile to have any measurable impact on traction. Tire grip comes from rubber compound chemistry, tread pattern design, and contact patch size, not from tiny whiskers that disappear immediately. Myth number 2, they help reduce road noise. Also false. Tire noise is determined by tread pattern geometry, rubber stiffness, and road surface texture. Little rubber hairs do absolutely nothing for noise reduction. Myth number 3, cutting them off yourself improves performance or tire balance. Wrong again. Removing them early will not harm anything, but it also will not help anything. They are so light and insignificant that they have zero effect on tire balance or performance. If you feel compelled to trim them for appearance reasons, go ahead, but you are wasting your time because they will vanish on their own within a few miles anyway. Here is a pro tip that mechanics use all the time but rarely share with customers. When you get new tires installed, take 30 seconds to walk around your car and photograph each tire from multiple angles showing the vent spews clearly visible. This gives you dated photographic proof that the tires were brand new at installation. Why does this matter? Because if you ever have a warranty claim, a dispute with a tire shop, or suspicion that used tires were sold as new, you have undeniable evidence of the tire condition the day you bought them. This simple habit has saved customers thousands of dollars in disputed warranty claims where shops tried to argue that tires were damaged by the customer when in reality they were defective from the start. 30 seconds of photos protects you from headaches later. Let me share something else most people never consider. Those little nubs are visible proof of precision manufacturing and quality control. The fact that modern tire molds require hundreds of precisely drilled microscopic vent holes to prevent air bubbles shows you just how engineered these products really are. Tires are carrying thousands of pounds of weight at highway speeds in extreme temperatures while gripping wet and dry pavement, absorbing impacts, and maintaining air pressure for months. The engineering behind a modern tire involves material science, chemistry, physics, and manufacturing precision that took over a century to develop. Those tiny rubber whiskers are a small visible reminder that what looks like a basic black donut is actually an incredibly sophisticated piece of technology. Now let me tell you what those nubs cannot tell you, and this is critical. They cannot tell you if the tire is safe, properly balanced, has internal damage, is the correct specification for your vehicle, or was stored properly before you bought it. Tires degrade over time even when they are not being driven. UV exposure, temperature fluctuations, ozone in the air, and improper storage all cause rubber compounds to break down slowly. A tire manufactured 5 years ago and never driven is not as safe as a tire manufactured 6 months ago, even if both have perfect vent spews still attached. This is why that DOT date code matters so much more than the presence or absence of little rubber hairs. Never buy tires older than 6 years from the manufacturing date regardless of how new they look. The rubber chemistry has already started degrading and the tire will not perform as designed. Here is the bottom line. Those tiny nubs on new tires are called vent spews. They are leftover rubber from air vent holes in the tire mold. They serve zero purpose after manufacturing. They wear off within miles of driving, and their presence suggests but does not guarantee that a tire is brand new. They are not a safety feature, not a performance enhancer, and not a reliable age indicator. What they are is a small visible trace of the complex engineering and precision manufacturing required to build a product that most of us take completely for granted until something goes wrong. Next time you see those little rubber whiskers on a fresh set of tires, you will know exactly what they are, where they came from, and why they exist. And maybe more importantly, you will know to check that DOT date code instead of relying on cosmetic details that do not actually tell you what matters. If this video just taught you something you genuinely did not know before, do me a favor and hit that like button right now so this reaches more drivers who are overpaying for old tires or trusting the wrong signs of tire quality. Share this with anyone you know who just bought tires or is about to, because this information has real financial value when you are standing in a tire shop trying to make an informed decision. Subscribe to this channel because we break down the car care details that mechanics know but rarely explain, and we do it without filler or fluff. Drop a comment right now and tell me what country you are watching from and what car problems or tire questions you have. I read every single comment and I want to hear from our community all over the world. Drive safe, stay informed, and I will see you in the next one.